Alright guys, so UFC 305 is happening this Saturday, and in this video I want to talk about 3 fights on the main card of UFC 305, and those fights are Tai Tuivasa versus Jairzinho Rozenstruik, Mateusz Gamrot versus Dan Hooker, and Kai Kara-France versus Steve Erzak. And if you guys like this content and if you'd like to see more, make sure you guys tune in this Friday, because that's when I'm going to be dropping my prediction for Drake du Plessis versus Israel Adesanya, and make sure you check out past videos I've made. And let's just get right into it. And the first fight we'll talk about is Tai Tuivasa versus Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Now I feel like this fight, I could see, Tai Tuivasa winning, and I think he's gonna win, but the guy is, I think he's on a 4-fight losing streak. He lost to Cyril Gane back in September of 2022. Then, for whatever reason, he came back like 2 months later, or 3 months later, and he fought in December, and he got knocked out by Sergey Pavlovich. Then he fought Volkov in 2023, and earlier this year, he lost to Marcin Tybura, who I thought was, kind of a bounce-back fight for him, like kind of a tune-up fight for him to get back in there, not really a high-level heavyweight, a guy on the lower end of the rankings that's meant for you to bounce back, but he wasn't able to get the job done. And it's like his grappling has been, it's not the best. And also he did get knocked out twice. But I feel like in this fight, Jairzinho doesn't really have a takedown threat. He's more of a kickboxer. And he's not the fastest guy, really. He's not really too hard to get hit. And I feel like sometimes he's a bit too patient. So I'm going to go with Tai Tuivasa. But, I'm not too confident in this one because of how Tai has looked in his previous fights. But this fight, it could go either way, but I think I'm gonna go with Tai Tuivasa by a first round KO. But then we have Mateusz Gamrot versus Dan Hooker, and I do think that Gamrot is a great fighter. He's got great wrestling. He's able to take basically almost all his opponents down. He wasn't really able to take down Beneil Dariush. And, if he can't get those takedowns off on you, he struggles a lot. He struggled a lot with a guy like Jalen Turner, who is able to defend the takedowns and just put the pressure on him and land some combinations on him and hurt him a bunch of times. And in this fight, although he does have a strong grappling advantage, I think that Dan Hooker is actually going to be able to get this done. He's been training with Craig Jones for a while. He recently was training with Damian Maia, because Damian Maia came over at City Kickboxing, and he was training with those guys, giving those guys some tips. And I feel like if Gamrot can't get those takedowns, it's gonna be really, really a hard fight for him. And he was getting timed with knees against Rafael dos Anjos, and RDA is 40 years old, and Dan Hooker has great knees, especially on shorter opponents. And I feel like in this one, he's going to be able to keep the fight on the feet and just have his way in controlling him with his jab and his leg kicks and just win a decision here. And then we have the co-main event between Kai Kara-France and Steve Erzak. And I feel like in this fight, I think that Steve Erzak is going to win by decision. I think he should have beat Alexandre Pantoja. He doesn't have a lot of experience, Steve Erzak, but he is very talented. He is very skilled. He's got great striking. I think he's going to be able to use his jab a lot in this fight, avoid the big overhands from a guy like Kai Kara-France, because, he had Pantoja in his last fight, who was weighing overhands. And I feel like he has a lot of momentum. He's also got great grappling. He's mainly a grappler, but his striking is really high level. You think that he's just a striker, but he's got great grappling, great striking. He's also been busy. This is his 3rd fight this year. He's super active. Kai Kara hasn't fought since June of 2023 due to injuries and all kinds of things. And I think that now Steve Erzak, he lost to Pantoja. He wasn't making excuses. He just went in there in the gym and just worked on his holes. And that's something that you don't really see from a lot of fighters. A lot of fighters come up with a bunch of excuses and they fight the same. But I think he's going to make some adjustments, look great in this one, have a lot of confidence coming off a 5-round championship fight, and I think he's going to piece up Kai Kara-France.